Good morning, Bella Vista. It's time for another Mayor's Wrap. I want to know what's up in the city. Do you? Good morning, Mayor Christie.
Good morning. Nice to see you again.
You too. You're all spiffy today.
Well, just for you.
Oh, thank you. You're so sweet. You know, as usual, I'm sure you have some incredible news that we all need to know about.
I do.
So you want to start with the financials?
As always.
Okay.
Yep. We're continuing to be in excellent financial shape. The revenue is $1.4 million over the budget, which is good. The capital expenditures and operations expenditures are 2.6 under the budget. 2.0 of that is the Mercy Way Bridge on the capital side. That's the expansion.
Yes.
It hasn't begun yet. And it's moving along slower than I had anticipated because we have to purchase rights of way, easements, etc., and we're in the process of doing that now. Everything has to be approved by RDOT. That slows it down as well, but we're going to get there. And the cash on hand has never been as high. We have $11.2 million. And if you remember, we've talked before about the ordinance that states that we always have to have 25% of unrestricted, and we have 57% of unrestricted. Some of that's going to come down. We're aggressively doing the resurfacing. You may have seen that happening around town.
Oh, yes.
And we doubled the budget this year, so we're doing $2.4 million. And the slurry fellows haven't come in yet, but we have the paving going on right now. Mm-hmm. And so that'll probably knock it down to about 9.2. But that's still very, very healthy.
Yes.
We're starting the budget next month. We have a new finance director.
Oh, you do?
We do. Carrie Elston has retired, and we have Kim Hall. Kim comes to us from Texas, from a town there or city there that's almost the same size as us, and she has years of municipal experience.
Wonderful.
So she's perfect fit, and I'm looking forward to working with her.
Carrie's done a great job.
She picked up a lot of troubles, I'll put it that way.
Yes, yes.
And she mechanized everything for us, which was great, which we sorely needed. And she can go out. She has left a legacy, which is great.
That's right. That's right. All right. So is that it for financials?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Well, as always, you know, we've been talking about this for months, but there's always something new to talk about. Let's talk about the bond update.
Yes, yes. Top of mind, of course, is the public safety building and the ability to get enough volume of water to maintain a fire suppression system, which we have to do by law. And I'm pleased to announce that an agreement has been reached with Cooper Communities and the POA. Paperwork has been signed. It's been registered with the county.
Yes.
And so my thanks to Kent Berger and Tom Judson for working with us. And we're now good to go.
Excellent.
So we're having a groundbreaking. Mark this on the calendar, folks.
28th of July.
28th of July at 9 o'clock on site. Now the site is up on 279 beside the street building that we opened in 2016. It's right across the street from the Boys and Girls Club.
Yes.
So if you want to come in and participate, and it's a new piece of history for us, by all means, please join us.
I would love to have a TV crew there. I don't know if we can do that, but I'm going to try my darndest to see if we can't get some pictures at least.
Yes, for posterity's sake, because it's our very, very first public safety building.
Yes.
We've never had a proper one. And the courthouse is going in there as well.
And you say that will take about a year to complete?
Oh, a good year.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it'll be finished before the time I leave, which is the end of next year.
Okay.
So,
oh, you're not going to leave. We're not going to let you. So give that up.
That's...
I'll talk to Connie. No problem.
Okay.
Also, the new fire station is just,
it's
looking
nicely.
Great.
It will still open in October sometime. We don't have an exact date yet. But yes, they've pretty much got all the exterior done. The interior walls are up. They have just finished ordering all the furniture. Mm-hmm. And so it's now a matter of just finishing off the interior, painting it, doing other odd jobs, getting the furniture in there. We've already got the manpower and we've already got the equipment. So there's no new purchases for that. We have acknowledged that we're probably going to need a fire station number 5 someday. Probably within the next 3 to 4 years down in the southwest area where we're seeing more and more new home construction as a result of the bypass.
Yes.
And so Chief Sims is already looking at possible locations. So that'll be another, well, by then it'll be $3.5, $4 million. And probably we'll have to buy some more equipment for that. So we're already talking about that as part of our 5-year forecast that we do at the budget. And we'll be starting the 2022 budget process next month.
Okay.
And as well as looking out 5 years on the capital programs, I've also asked them to give me a 5-year forecast on anticipated headcount increase.
Well, next month, Bella Vista, we're going to be talking to Chief Sims, and we will have an upgrade. We're going to do a video of the progress. He's very excited.
Oh, yes.
I talked to him at the last city council meeting, and so we're looking forward to that. So be sure you watch not only today, but next month as well.
We're also looking for land, and I've been saying this, I know, every single month, but we have a few sites in mind. It's a question of, can we get water? Will it perk properly? But this is for the fire training facility. That's also part of the bond. And that's essential because if you have a fire training tower as part of that facility, then it is looked upon favorably by ISO. And ISO is the one that determines the fire rating for the city. When I came in as mayor, it started as a 6. We built fire station number 4. We increased the head count. We modernized a lot of the equipment. They dropped it from a 6 down to the 4. Now I want to get it to a 3. Because the insurance companies look at that, and if you can bring it down, then hopefully you're going to save money on your insurance premiums.
Excellent.
So that's why the fire training tower is very, very important.
Yes, yes.
So that in a nutshell is the bond.
Okay.
Good.
Well, I can't wait till next month. I mean, who knows? You're always a surprise. That's why we need to do this every month.
That's true.
Okay, the Metfield connector?
Yeah, the Metfield connector essentially is finished. And it's really nice seeing people running on it, kids riding bicycles. We're probably going to have an official grand opening probably towards the end of August. But it's nice to see people out there already. There are a couple of things that we're working on now. Some of the members of council felt that the trail was a little bit too close to the road. By international trail standards, it was fine. Nevertheless, we got a quote on putting up a guardrail. It was $34,000. And so we don't have to have council approval because it's not paid by the city. It's paid by the Walton Family Foundation. Nevertheless, we brought out a contractor, and it would require 50 posts, and then you attach the guardrail to the posts. These are steel posts. They do not dig and sink them in. They pound them in. It's actually not even pounding. They have a machine that comes over, and they position where the post is going to be. It clamps on the top, and it literally pushes it into the ground.
Can I borrow that for my garden?
Yeah. We've run across a major showstopper. Do you remember the problem that we had with the light at Kingsland?
Yes.
With all the buried telecom?
Yes, yes.
We've hit the same thing again. And this time there's no workaround.
Well, there might be. May I just offer you something? You know, some of the things that you see in Bella Vista, and it's in keeping with the nature, are those big boulders that you put every now and then. What about something like that? Just a thought.
The problem is, if they have to get in and work on the telecom stuff, then they're going to have to move the boulders.
The boulder, yeah.
So it's best to keep it free and clear. Of course, we didn't know that anything was down there because it hasn't been recorded. And so if we just let them go through and start pounding, they're going to, there's probably copper and fiber optic down there, and it would cost a fortune to repair it. So I have told our team, stand down, let's look at alternatives. Plastic bollards along the edge. If nothing else, it'll alert the drivers that there's something there.
There you go.
And yeah, they're going to get hit, but they're relatively inexpensive to replace. So more of an alerting system as opposed to a retention system. So that's still outstanding. You might have noticed that the grass is really long down there. There's a lot of discussion as to how we should tackle the grass, because it's going to be fairly expensive to keep mowing it all the time. I think we found a solution. And
goats?
No, the goats would be nice, but they're better for poison ivy.
Oh, you're right, you're right.
But I think we'll have a private contractor mow, say, the first 5 feet either side, and then we'll bring in our city brush hogs, which don't cut as low as the your normal mower at home. And they'll do the next swath, and then in the middle as well, because there are places where the trail actually, the road's here, it curves out like this and then comes back.
Yeah.
Well, it leaves islands. And so we had some discussion, do we want to leave the islands looking like weedy kind of things?
Wildflowers?
Well, there's not even really wildflowers there, unfortunately. So we've said, okay, that's where the brush hogs will go. And of course, we won't touch the trees or anything, because that adds to the beauty of it.
Yes.
So that's in hand as well. The city is on the hook for everything from the corner of Euston and Manchester all the way up to Metfield. And the POA's portion that they're paying is all the way through Blowing Springs and down to the guardhouse and out to the parking lot, the first parking lot, which is where the connector starts at that point.
Yes.
So, but we'll get there. But it is a beautiful trail.
Oh, I know it is. I can't wait. Silly as it seems. You were talking about bush hogging or brush hogging, whatever, however you say it. When I come back in the next lifetime, I just want to do something simple, and I want to mow. That's what I want to do. So if you have any openings for retired TV personalities to mow, just let me know, okay?
A mower in training.
Mower in training?
MIT.
I actually had a lawn mowing service when I was 10.
Did you really?
I did.
I had one in high school.
Yeah.
It was great.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. All right, let's get back to reality now. Do you think we need to take a break before we go
Yeah, let's have
on?
a break.
All right, we'll be right back, folks, with yet more information. Okay, welcome back. We are on a roll today, and there are a couple more subjects that we want to talk about. So, Mayor Christie, besides having a fabulous fire department, I really think you've got a great police department as well.
We do have a great police department. We, again, as part of my philosophy of managing the growth rather than letting the growth manage us, we have been building and improving and modernizing as we've been going along. We've also spent a lot of time on training, which we do every year. The police have changed a lot, because I was a volunteer police officer in the Phoenix area about 10 years ago, and I could see the beginning of the change there. Police are becoming more social workers because they're having to deal with issues that perhaps were not acknowledged or even dealt with 10 years ago, and so we spent a lot of time training those as well. We've increased our CID, which is the detectives. We have a tactical response team. We now have a motors unit, which is motorcycles. And that's proved to be very, very beneficial for us because they can move faster in crowded areas. And they're also perfect for patrolling on traffic on 71.
Do you also have trails on bicycles? Do you have anybody on a bicycle?
Yeah, we've got 6 officers trained and certified on the bike trails, and they all have bicycles.
Okay.
And we do have a small third motorcycle that we use on the trails as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So every year in the beginning of August, there's an event called Night Out. And it's a national event that every police department across the nation is part of. And so we're having it this year again on August the 3rd, starts at 5 p.m. at the Kingsdale Pavilion over beside Reardon Hall. And if you've been at it before, it's the same place. Yeah. It's a great night out for families. And it gives everybody an opportunity to speak to the officers. We'll have the canines out, and they'll be doing, their show, which is always a lot of fun. We usually have a golf cart there with blacked out goggles, almost blacked out. And we have an officer sitting, and anybody can try and drive. And what we're trying to do is simulate this is what it's like when you're, DUI.
Oh.
And there's pylons, and you have to try and get around. I've never seen anybody do it. So there's that exercise. They usually have a radar gun set up, and you can throw a ball into a net, and the radar gun is set up so you can see how fast your speed is in pitching. It's just a lot of fun. And that's where the miniature golf thing as well. So if you want to combine it into a full family, let's go play miniature golf first. There are tables there. Let's pack a picnic, and then let's see the night out. It would be a perfect evening. Touch wood, it doesn't rain.
Yeah, and that's great for kids, but even full-grown kids.
Oh yeah, yeah, the big kids too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the sirens and
That's
all
right.
of that stuff.
But no, the PD has done wonders. We had one K-9 unit when I first came in. We now have 2, and we're going to up it to 3 either later this year or the beginning of next, which means that we'll have a K-9 on each of the 3 shifts.
Boy, I remember going through the Citizens Police Academy, and I chose to ride with the dog. Unfortunately, or fortunately, really, we didn't have any issues. But I really love those dogs.
Yep.
And I'm excited that you are, they're officers too.
Yes, they are. We're going to be retiring Cabo towards the end of the year.
Okay.
And we'll get a replacement for him as well as a new number 3. We're actually getting number 3 funded through a narcotics fund that we have with the prosecuting attorney. So the way that works is if you do arrest people for drugs and if they have money and other assets, the prosecutor takes it and holds it because it's evidence in the trial. Mm-hmm. Once the trial is finished and whatnot, he still holds it, but then the police department has the ability to make a claim and say, look, we'd like to purchase this. Are you willing to release the money? And the prosecuting attorney, Nathan Smith, has always been very good to us. And so we'll probably replace Cabo that well, and maybe the other one as well, you know, the new number 3. People often ask, what happens to the retired dogs?
I was just going to ask you that.
The retired dogs stay with the police officer who's the handler and becomes somewhat like a family pet because he goes home every night to the house with the officer, and they're wonderful with kids.
Yes.
And so Yancey McCool, who's the officer who's going to be swapping out the dog, will have Cabo coming home. And gosh, the whole family's excited that he'll now be a permanent part of the family.
Oh, I can only imagine. Speaking of the academy, are you doing that again this fall?
Yes, we're going to start it up again this fall.
Okay.
That's the police academy.
Yes.
The Citizens
Police Academy.
Right.
So Bella Vista, I also wanted to let you know that next month it's going to be so exciting because we're going to be talking city, you know, completely. So Chief Graves will be back, and we haven't talked to him in a long time. So stay tuned.
Excellent.
All right. So, and go out for that police night out because that is a lot of fun.
Right. So again, it's August the 3rd, 5 o'clock.
Yes.
At the Kingsdale Pavilion over beside Reardon Hall.
Yes, yes. Okay, now you have something called the American Rescue Plan, and that sounds like money.
Yeah, it's money. It's a lot of money that Congress passed. And there's a whole formula to determine how much each county and each city is going to get. The counties have their money now. The money is actually split in half, so you get half of it this year, half of it next. Any cities over 50,000 in population, and I believe there are 7 or 8 here in the state, they get theirs direct from the feds. The rest of us have to wait, and it comes through the state. Now, the state's not allowed to put any encumbrances on it at all. All they're doing is just managing the flow of the money. We estimate that we're going to get 5.9 million. It's interesting because unlike the CARES Act, which was more money they gave earlier in the year, we got just over $1 million. You had to specify to the nth degree the actual projects that you wanted to spend that money on, plus then they gave you a lump sum that was equivalent to police salaries from April till May or June of last year. This time, here's the money, and here are the parameters, and we're still waiting to see the final parameters.
You've been waiting on those forever.
Oh yeah, they've issued so far 185 pages, and it's still interim. I'm on a call again at 2 o'clock this afternoon. We do it every Wednesday with the Municipal League. And
so is roads on there?
No,
roads?
You can't. So you can use it for financial recovery. Well,
okay.
We don't qualify because we and all our sister cities up here did extremely well because the internet tax kicked in.
Yes. So
I'm happy to report that we didn't have a loss of revenue. We had a gain of revenue.
So keep buying online.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. So that's out. There are a couple of other provisions. You could take part of the money, say, and give it to a qualified third party. The problem with that is you're on the hook to monitor that third party to make sure that they're doing everything that Treasury says they have to do. Well, and in order to do that, we're going to have to hire another head. And that just doesn't make any sense to me at all. And the city is on the hook, not the third party, if they aren't spending it correctly.
Gotcha.
Then there are infrastructure projects. One is for sewer. We don't have sewer. That's a private. Water, all 4 water sources here in the city are private. Then there's broadband, and this is something that the governor is pushing a lot.
Yeah.
We have 4 or 5 pockets here in the city where there is no internet access. And I've been working with AT&T and Cox for years trying to get them to build that into their capital program, because we now have people building new homes in those areas and they're not being told at the point of sale or the closing that there's no internet access. And so they're having to try and use satellite. Satellite doesn't work very well when there's a lot of cloud or rain.
Or trees.
Or trees.
Yeah.
It's on a band level called a KU band. And it's better if you just have fiber. So the problem is their financial models don't work. So my plan with council approval is to work with the telecom providers, and I'd like to pick just one. So we're going to have to go, to an RFP on this, and have a business-city partnership so that we can put money in to help them with the initial dig, because they want to bury all the lines, and we will record them so that they don't get into problems later. Will it solve all of it? No, unfortunately, because it's very, very expensive, especially with the rock that we have in the ground here. But I'm hoping it's going to make a substantial dent. But we really have 2 things. We have to wait for the money. We were supposed to get it on July 16th. It hasn't arrived yet. And there's no date when it is going to arrive, probably because Treasury hasn't finished their final rule book.
You need to go up there and straighten them out, Peter.
The feds are different.
Yeah, I know.
And there's also reporting. Now, we only have to report once a year. The counties and those with more than 50,000 have to report quarterly. So we got a bit of a break. But our first report is due, I believe, the 21st of October. And it might be just a blank sheet. We haven't done anything. And even though the larger cities and the counties have already received their first half of the money, most of them have simply put it in the bank and don't want to spend it on anything because they don't know what the final rules are going to be. So it's a lot of money.
But that broadband, that's going to help the kids that may be having to go back to home schooling.
And it'll also help. There are a great deal more workers working from home these days.
That's true.
Which is something that we're looking at very seriously at City Hall. You may remember we've talked about building a City Hall someday. I'm not sure we need to. We might just move in, well, it won't be my decision, it'll be the next mayor, but moving into where the court is today. And I think you probably want to have certainly the mayor, somebody on the front desk, which is the mayor's assistant. You probably want to have finance, and that's it. Everybody else can work from home and then set up maybe 3, I call them hot seats like we had in the corporate world. There are 3 offices that are empty, but you can book them online. So if HR decides that they want to come in for 3 days on a certain week, they go online and they book the office and then they come into the office. But during the pandemic last year, when everybody was working from home for the most part, I was in every day, as was my assistant, and finance was in every day. It's changed dramatically since, you remember the late 80s, early 90s, where it was telecommuting, and it sort of fell apart because you couldn't measure whether people were being productive or not. Things have changed.
Yes.
And so you know whether or not people are working. And I think this is probably a smarter way to go. And that'll save the city money in the long run, having to build any kind of city hall. People have said, well, where is legal going to go? Legal is actually going to move into the new public safety facility. And Mr. Kelly's law clerk will actually go with him, and we've got space in there for a second law clerk someday.
So City Hall couldn't go to the public safety building, or would you have to move? You'd have to build onto it or something?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So we're not going to move the planning offices either at this moment. So we'd simply move in there and be right beside them.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, but again, that's going to be down the road. We'll just have to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else we need to tell our fellow Bella Vistans about before we sign off today?
Well, I want to assure you that, we are good stewards of taxpayer dollars. And we're always looking for ways to grow the revenue, which is good. But we're also looking for ways to make sure that we expand our margin. And that's corporate talk for watch your expenses. And we want to continue to engage our employees as we do now with the onboarding that we talked about before, the process. Every city employee gets a birthday card and a service anniversary card signed by me and signed by the department head with a little cryptic note, because I know a lot of them.
Yes.
And that's part of the retention strategy. And then we've also got to make sure that we take care of our residents. And you have to remember, again, our city boundaries do not align with the POA.
Right.
So we've got farms and we've got islands that are inside the POA border, but they're not part of the POA. And so we have to make sure that we look after all the residents as best we can.
Someday, if it's a possibility, I would absolutely love to see how the city and the POA fit over the top so that we would understand. That'd be something I'd like to work on with you when I get back.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because one of the interesting things is the shooting range.
Yes.
It's in the POA.
But it's Cooper land. It's not
It's
even.
in Gravett.
Yeah, I know. It's so confusing. And the Planning Commission, I mean, come on, that's even weirder.
That's right. That's right. And then you've got the Board of Zoning Adjustment as well.
Yeah.
And so it's a very different governance that we have here that you probably won't find anywhere else in the country. You've got the POA, you've got Cooper, and then you've got ourselves at the city.
Yeah.
And we all need to work together.
Yes.
We all are working together.
Yes.
It's like a three-legged stool. If one falters, the other two will collapse. Perhaps a little melodramatic, but we need to stay aligned, focused, and working together. Tom and I talk at least 2 or 3 times a week about various issues. And Kent Berger and I have been talking as well. He's the president of CCI. So we've got to keep those lines of communication and cooperation open. And so far, as you can see with the water, it works.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, as always, thank you. But on a
Pleasure.
note, Bella Vista, I'm sorry, but I have to do this. Camera, I want you to see today's socks. These socks that the mayor always has, incredible socks, but today they are state socks.
Yeah, they're the outline of the states, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we sign off today, keep that in mind. He is government all the way and here to help you out. Thank you, Bella Vista. We will see you next month.
Safe journey on your trip.
Thank you.